Greetings and welcome to Leagues Ahead, the vodcast of the Arena Gauntlet League, where we look at tournaments that we have yet to play to discover the rule sets, the process for how we came up with the tournament form we ended up on, and to help our players come to grips with the new tournament that they'll be taking part in. I'm Christopher York. I'm the founder of the AGL and the tournament organizer, and talking with me today, we have none other than Jack, who is the record keeper of the league, the main force behind organizing our Player of the Year 2026 tournament. Welcome along, Jack.
Thanks for having me.
I tell you what, I'm excited about this Player of the Year tournament. It's the biggest one we've ever had. If memory serves, last year it was 24 players. Let's start talking about, first of all, the scale of this tournament. Just like we've doubled up on the size of the finalists for the regular league, now we have 32 players. How did this come to be? How did we end up on this new number? Let's start there.
Yeah, so it was a decision we made kind of coming out of the 2024 Player of the Year. Especially with the league growth we were seeing, that we felt it was appropriate to kind of bump up to 32, and that also came along with the new Gauntlet pennant at the time. We made the decision to offer Player of the Year invites to any player who won a Gauntlet pennant during the season, which kind of just necessitated us having more space, because that's 9 extra invites we've got to throw to people. So just based on that alone, we needed the extra space for sure.
Yeah, I think that in actuality, the numbers just work better. Traditionally, in our previous Player of the Year tournaments, we've had 3 rounds. We've had a quarterfinals, a semifinals, and a finals. And it seems like pods of 8 are just about where we want to be for each step along the way. So we'll start with 32 players in the quarter, cut down to 16 for the semis, and then end up with a top 8 for the finals. One thing that we should know, because we have more players, we have more prizes. So I'll speak to that since that's sort of my wheelhouse. The first place prize, which is the most highly sought after, is the free entry, or the sort of like the buyback mechanic for the Player of the Year, which means they get all of their 2026 tournaments repaid at the end of the tournament. They get their money back for everyone they play in. Important to note, you don't get Player of the Year privileges for tournaments that you don't play in, right? So you can't just sit back and get a passive income on being pody. You do have to put your hat in the ring and actually play in the tournaments, but you're guaranteed to at least get your money back, and then whatever else you earn on top of that is just gravy. So this is the closest thing that the Arena Gauntlet League has to a Pro Tour. There's one person at least in the league who gets to play for free. Plus there's $50 on top of that for our winner. There's scaled pricing all the way down to 8th. And then there's flat sort of like a $10 prize for everyone who goes from 9th to 16th. So if you make it at least to the second round, you're guaranteed to get your entry fee back. So it's as far down the ladder as we can go to making such a highly competitive tournament as casual as possible. Now, these 32 players, they are the absolute best on the server. They're the Sharks. Jack, who gets the invites?
Yeah, so I guess why don't we walk through the invite list?
Sure. Yeah.
So we've of course we've saved one invite for 2024 Player of the Year. They always the previous Player of the Year will always have a spot in the next one. We've got one spot reserved for the winner of the Rookie of the Year draft, which was just wrapped up recently. One invitation. This one was kind of special to this season, but we had a clan mega draft from Dragonstorm League, where the highest performing clan got to take their top 8 players who didn't make the main mega draft and have a kind of a side mega draft for just them. The winner of that was given an invite as well.
Yeah, Jack, just to interrupt here, can we name names? Can you take me through the actual personalities of, so like for example, rolling it back just a little bit, 2024 Player of the Year. Some people might not be familiar. Who's the daddy who gets the sort of like who gets the rollover from the previous Pody tournament?
Yeah. So yeah, I can definitely drop some names. We
let's
can
do
go
it.
through the full
Let's
list
do
for
it.
sure.
We got some
So-
sharks here. Let's put some chum in the water. Let's get to know the personalities of these people who we're going to be seeing play this tournament out. And it should be noted quickly that this is an invitation-only tournament, right? So this is not a league for everybody. It's a league for the top 32, and invites are handed out based on past performances. This is something that a lot of us are just going to engage with, myself included, as a spectator. So know that going into this vodcast. All right, Jack, give us the names.
Okay, so start from the top again. So we've got, of course, the invite for 2024, the player of the year. That's Zach Carr. He won the last Player of the Year, and he'll be joining us again for this one.
And as I
We have
recall,
our-
he didn't take full advantage of his like. I think he maybe played in like 2/3 or somewhere between 2/3 and half of the league, so he didn't take full advantage of his 2024 Pody prize, right?
I know he's leaving money on the table for whoever wins this one. Make sure you use your free entry. It's not sticking around. So we've got, next up is an invite for the Rookie of the Year, who that tournament just finished up recently. So that's Michael W. He's a newer player. He started in Edge of Eternities, but already I think it's pretty clear to see that he's deserving of his spot. He went 23-7 in Edge of Eternities, and he's already 12-3 in Spider-Man. So
Insane.
we definitely can see he's got what it takes.
Oh yeah, that's one to look out for. And importantly for our Rookie of the Year, no Player of the Year returnee has ever successfully defended the title. We've never had back-to-back Pody. So you can just clear out the old deadwood, I think, Michael. Don't worry about that. The fresh blood, it seems to have a better chance.
I mean, it's a pretty low chance, right? We're just thinking equal probabilities. It's only 1 in 32 that Zach's gonna take a title down. But I guess there's at least one other returning Player of the Year, and I guess we'll get to them later.
Yeah.
So we reserved one invite for the clan mega draft I was describing earlier. So the Teamwork clan won Giant Storm League, so their top 8 players got to participate in a special mega draft just for them. The winner of that invite actually declined their invite, so that ended up just converting over to a roll down. So no names to mention there.
What's a roll down, Jack? Just for those who aren't familiar with our arcane practices.
Yeah, so the roll down invites, they happen when either a player declines an invite or a player who's already qualified wins a second invite. And in that case, the extra invite gets converted over to a roll down, which will get passed along to the player who has the best performing 3 leagues that isn't already qualified.
Right.
So we have a running tally of the sum of people's best 3 league scores, and there's a certain amount of those players that get invited, and every time a duplicate invite is generated, one more of those players gets an invite.
And Jack, you're in charge of keeping track of all these stats. That's one of your big contributions to the league committee, and something that I think that you can take rightful pride in is being the league record keeper. Because without that, our institutional memory could be fairly short. But I think that this is a. I just want to give you some online praise here, because this is a more important job than I think a lot of people are actively aware of. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's I think it's good to have some sort of record stored so we can look back on previous history of the league.
Mostly for mocking and shit talking purposes, right? Just to rub it in people's face. I've beat you X times, and you've only beat me Y times. So I am.
Yeah, exactly.
There's value in that. There's definitely value.
Yeah. Next up, we've got a couple of play-ins we ran. So these were some sort of side events that ran, and the winner of each one of those side events received a Player of the Year invite. So we'll start with the rotisserie draft play-in. So rotisserie draft has kind of become a staple of the side events. A few of our members will run a rotisserie draft every set, and the winner of each of those drafts was invited to a special winners only pod. And the winner of that entire event received a Player of the Year invite as well.
Yeah,
it was none other.
Rotisserie drafts, they take a long time to do, and it takes a lot of commitment, and winning a rotisserie draft is already an achievement in itself, but then winning a rotisserie draft against 7 other rotisserie draft winners, I'm going to say that's significant enough to merit a play-in. It sounds like it's harrowing. Yeah. Who took it down?
None other than Jordan MJ Mtron.
Oh!
Ended up winning the rotisserie play-in this year.
Yep.
Definitely a name that people know well.
That's familiar.
Yeah,
I've heard about him somewhere. I don't know. It rings a bell.
Once or twice, maybe. Yeah. We also ran an open play-in, so this was more of just kind of a general side event. It was open to anyone to join. There were no restrictions on whether or not you could join, and it was run as a short 3-week league alongside our Final Fantasy tournament. The kicker for that one was in our main Final Fantasy league, we took the bonus sheet completely out of the packs. So we made up for it in this league by putting one in every pack. And it was a short 3-week league that was followed by a mega draft, standard stuff. The winner of that one was Travis C., the random jobber.
Yep. And I think it is important to have a couple of these slots. I think that, a 3-week league is the same amount of time as our accelerated leagues, and the quality of player on our server is going to be the same. So I think that's also a legitimate include. You think about like other tournaments that have like a celebrity includes, like, they just get the let's say the spot because of who they are, who they work for, or where they stream to, how big their fan base is. So, I think that this is also an interesting and worthy way to get into your Player of the Year tournament. And Travis has been making his name known on the server for a while now too, as a pretty strong player.
Yeah, that actually wasn't even Travis's first invite. We'll get to his other one later.
All right.
And also, that event also had more than 100 players. So, worst comes to worst, you still have to beat 100 players at something.
Yeah.
And then my favorite play-in, the side event play-in, this one was reserved for only the winners of side events that weren't rotisserie drafts. So any side event that wasn't a roto, you received an invite to the side event play-in. And we ended up running this one as a single elimination 1v1 Winston bracket with 1 pack of each of the standard sets from this season. So I believe we had 28 participants. So we had 5 rounds. And none other than yours truly took that one down.
Well. Congratulations.
Got my Player of the Year through that one, which was fun.
Wait, am I the only part of the admin here that's not invited to Player of the Year? I'm beginning to feel a little salty.
No, we've got a couple more. It's Jordan, myself, Adam, and Latte are all in. There's a few others that aren't.
So it's just me.
Not just you.
The Steves and I are on the outside.
The Steves and you, yeah.
Right.
Those are kind of all of our miscellaneous invites. So kind of the ones that aren't super standard.
Right.
So then we have kind of our bulk of our main invites, which come from pennant winners and league winners. So I'll kind of rapid fire through those real quick.
Sure.
So we'll start with the pennants. So Dustborn pennant was won by Miranda L. Black Canary. The Foundation's pennant was won by Latte, so that's where her invite is coming from. The Pioneer Masters pennant was run by Sawyer. Aether Drift pennant was won by Jabari. he was kind of a new face actually at the time. That was his first tournament, and he ended up, performing the best in the main league on that one. Our next generation pennant was won by Dirk E. The Dragonstorm pennant was won by none other than league committee member Adam, who then also won the Playground pennant the very next league.
Yeah, he's on a bit of a, he's on a hot streak there, yeah, for sure.
He managed to take down 2 back-to-back, yeah. Our Final Fantasy pennant was won by Ryan M., another community staple and great player. And then the Edge of Eternity's pennant was won by Tim O., also a newer player. I believe he started in Final Fantasy, but he's had a couple of good leagues so far as well. And then the league champions themselves, so we'll go back from the top. Our Dustmorn champion was Aaron B. The Foundation's champion was Matthias H. Pioneer Masters champion was Richard K. Wouldn't be a player of the year without him. And then this is maybe the wildest part of the player of the year qualification is our Aether champion was also Aaron B. So he actually managed to win 2 leagues this season.
Incredible.
It's a very impressive feat. Our next generation champion was Martin J. Although he actually ended up not being available for the player of the year. So that one, again, it got converted into a roll down, which that'll be our last section of invites we'll go over.
Yep.
Our Dragonstorm champion was Travis. So we mentioned he won the Open play, and he's also just happened to win Dragonstorm League. So he got a couple invites coming his way.
A lot of talent here. A lot of familiar names. A lot of talent.
Oh yeah. Our Playground champion was DeWitt K. Again, another face you expect to see. Our Final Fantasy champion was Sawyer, and again, we mentioned him earlier, so he won a pennant and won a league this season. And then our Edge of Eternity's champion was Nick L. Play on Birds. So he's actually he's an older face. He was around, playing League 2-3 years ago. But he took a pretty extended break. And Edge of Eternities was actually his first league back in a while, and he just he came back with a vengeance. He came back swinging and just won his first league back.
Amazing.
And then we've got three more invites that aren't roll downs, and those are for Mega Draft winners. So ever since we've started splitting the top 8 into top 16, we've had 2 Mega Drafts per league, and we've been giving the winner of the Mega Draft that doesn't win the league a Player of the Year invite as well.
Right.
So these players didn't get league winner badges, but they did get Mega Draft winner badges, and they still earn their spot to participate in Player of the Year. And those 3 players are from the Playground League, Emmett F., the Final Fantasy League with Matthew H., and then the Edge of Eternities League with Jordan again. So he's also got another invite coming his way this season.
That's just 3 so far.
Yeah, just 3 so far, right? And then our last section of invites is all of the roll downs we talked about. So these are the players who had the best 3 leagues that didn't receive an invite another way through, winning a league or a side event play or anything like that. And with all of the roll downs and declined invites, we ended up with 12 players qualifying through their performance in the best 3 leagues. So I'll rapid fire through this list.
Sure.
And this is in order from top to bottom. So our highest,
and excluding anybody who's already won on another metric, right?
Yeah, exactly. So these will just be the players themselves that are getting the invite, not the players that were already qualified and also happen to have a strong best 3 leagues.
Right.
So we've got Chris D, Stereolab, Evan C, Pizza Crab, Christopher G, Oompa Loompa, Lucas M, Finley 2K1, Oscar T, Aussie Tubby, Colton S, Colton Cooper, Caleb G, Why Not, Daniel G, Frisky Hobbit, Nick L, Alifos, John P, Goku or Go Home, Nick A, Nistar, and Vincent L, Tanathanos. And those are our 12 players that are receiving roll down invites for this Player of the Year.
Well, congratulations to everybody who made the cut. That sounds like it's going to be a tough tournament to get to the semis in. Just a rogues gallery of our best, highest profile players, and players with achievements both within our tournament series and without our tournament series. So, next step for us is to describe the course of tortures that we're going to put them all through. So let's begin with the quarterfinals, which is where the tournament is going to begin. What have we got planned for our contestants? What are we going to make them do for the first week?
Yeah, so this one's fun. Last year our first round was a sealed, and we kind of heard some feedback from players that they play sealed all the time in the leagues. They want less sealed. So we definitely heard that feedback. So what we're actually running. Yeah, so we're actually running for our first quarterfinals, or the quarterfinals round here. Our first round is 4 mega drafts. So what we're going to be doing is splitting the 32 players up into 8 pods, mostly based on seeding. If we need to, make a couple swaps due to availability,
4
we'll
pods.
do so.
4 pods of 8, right, Jack? Not 8 pods.
4 pods of 8.
Yeah.
So each one of those pods will be mega drafting. The fun part about this one is they're not going to know what they're mega drafting until right before the mega draft starts itself.
Amazing.
And the selection of mega drafts that will be up on the roulette wheel is all of the mega drafts from our 6-week leagues this year. So I'll run through them real quick.
Sure, please.
So we've got our first league this season was Dustmourn. If a pod gets Dustmourn rolled, they're going to be drafting Dustmourn, Murders at Karlov Manor, Crimson Vow, Midnight Hunt, Theros Beyond Death, and Shadows of Rain-Flood Remastered.
Yes! Theros Beyond Death makes its appearance.
And this one's special. This one's special because there's actually an extra rule on top of this, which is every time the player drafts a rare or mythic, their deck size will increase by 1.
Love that. That was the format for the Dustmourn League Mega Draft as well. And
That's right.
As I recall, it made drafting a bit more tense in that you couldn't just take the rare and speculate on it being useful. You really had to make sure it had a role in your deck because it affects your deck size, which I think was a genius, mechanic, and I'm glad to see it being rolled out here again. Let's hope it gets rolled on the wheel.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that one for me specifically. I would definitely love to try that one out. Next up, we've got Foundations. So Foundations is probably the most interesting one on here. Whether or not you think that's good or bad is up to interpretation. But the packs that people will be drafting is Foundations, and then there's going to be 5 random planes that get pulled out of a planar deck. For those that don't remember or weren't here, our Foundations League was plane chase based, and so we would kind of have a new plane in effect every week, and it would change some rules about the tournament and also dictate what comeback packs you would open that week. So for our Mega Draft, we're going to be pulling 5 of these planes and then also applying the rules of one of those planes to the Mega Draft. So this one's really, it definitely could swing either way. You could be playing with an 80 card deck. You could be playing with no humans in your deck. You could be playing Brawl. We actually had that happen in Foundations for the Mega Draft. The players were playing a Brawl Mega Draft.
So this is true chaos. This is absolute chaos.
Yeah. Really, anything could happen here. Yeah. It's the Wild West. We've got some less exciting ones, maybe less volatile coming up. Our Pioneer Masters Mega Draft. So the way this one's going to work is there's no special rules, and the packs in effect, it's going to be Pioneer Masters with the Planeswalker bonus sheet, followed by Ward the Spark, and then Pioneer Masters with the Spells bonus sheet, then Strixhaven, and then Pioneer Masters with the Devotion bonus sheet, and then Neon Dynasty last. So you had a good mix of those bonus sheets in this one.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds tasty as well. I mean, there's a lot of like older sets, and Pioneer Masters had a lot of older cards in it, so it's got that retro feel, I think, going for it.
Yeah, it's definitely unique in the fact that you're going to be playing with cards that are a lot older than most of the other mega drafts will be. So it'll definitely reward players who have seen those cards before or just play Pioneer Masters.
Mm-hmm.
And then next up,
as I recall, the importance of including all of these possible draft formats is that it doesn't really favor any particular person in which tournament they qualified in, right? So like, there's a chance that you will be playing in the format that you qualified for the Player of the Year tournament via, and there's an equal chance that you won't. So in a way, this is like it's sort of a great leveler across all possible contestants.
Yeah, and I think the other thing of not knowing which one you're going to be playing in until the draft itself, it's going to reward good gameplay and not like, oh, I went through the entire set and looked at every card and like prepared for 10 hours or whatever. Just, it's less possible here, and it's really going to reward players for adapting to their situations and having good card evaluation and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's thinking in the moment, it's improvising, and I think also like it might reduce some of the cognitive load and the barrier to entry that a lot of Player of the Year contestants might feel otherwise. They might feel obligated to put that 10 hours in to study if the format were locked in. This kind of relieves the players of some of that stress, I think, in an important way. They just had to bring their A game to the draft and be able to improvise on the fly. What's our next format?
Yeah. So next up is Aether Drift. This one's pretty simple. We've just got Aether Drift followed by Kaladesh Remastered, Ikoria, Lost Caverns of Ixalan, March of Machines, and then finally one Aether Drift. Those were the speed boosts from Aether Drift League, those 4 offset packs. And there's no special rules on this one. So for this one, you'll just be drafting those 6 packs and nothing else on top of that.
Okay.
Next up is Dragonstorm. Dragonstorm's a pretty fun one. So for this mega draft, the players will be alternating between packs of Tarkir Dragonstorm and then packs of Tarkir Reforged, which, for anyone that wasn't there for Dragonstorm League, there's actually a special cube that one of our league committee members, Jordan M., completely built himself. And it's kind of it's like an homage to the original Cons block, except, we took out a bunch of the shit cards and put in like real cards. So it's meant to be, kind of a souped up Cons of Tarkir to pay tribute to that old block, but, not make it completely unplayable.
Right. Those are pretty familiar. Again, those are the exact mega drafts that you had in the finals of both those events. And then I think Final Fantasy also follows the same form, right? In replicating.
Yeah. So Final Fantasy. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. It also replicates the mega draft format of that tournament. Is that correct?
Yeah. So this one was the fabled Saga draft, which has actually been run before. Lord of the Rings, maybe. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah,
but
that sounds right.
The idea is it's a bunch of sets that kind of focus on or have some sort of saga theme, which Final Fantasy was one of. So we've got Final Fantasy followed by Wilds of Eldraine, Lord of the Rings, Dominaria United, Neon Dynasty, and then wrapping up with another pack of Final Fantasy. So definitely there'll be a lot of sagas floating around in that one.
And the only one I've seen so far that includes Lord of the Rings. So if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you kind of want to get slotted into the Final Fantasy saga draft.
Yeah. It's hard. It's sort of hard to like fit Lord of the Rings into any of our tournament offers, just because it's that Universes Beyond set that doesn't play super nice with a lot of other sets. But yeah, if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, pray you get this one rolled for you. And then last up, we've got Edge of Eternities. So that was our last 6-week league of the season. The mega draft for this one will be Edge of Eternities, followed by the 4 most mined sets during the Edge of Eternities league, and then wrapping it up again with 1 Edge of Eternities. So notably for the Edge of Eternities mega draft itself, what packs you drafted actually depended on what mega draft you were in. So the 2 pods of 8 were drafting different sets.
Right.
One of the pods drafted Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Martian Machines, Aether Drift, and Bloomburrow, and the other one drafted Martian Machines, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Wilds of Eldraine. What was the 4th? Final Fantasy was the 4th one there. I don't actually know off the top of my head what the overall most mindsets were. If I had to put a guess to it, it would be
Outlaws.
Final Fantasy. Yeah, Outlaws, March Machines, Final Fantasy. Maybe Dragonstorm was 4th. But yeah, we'll have to look at those numbers. But
yeah, before
either
the
way,
event.
people can, before the event.
Before the event, we'll get
event.
that figured out.
But either way, I think people can expect to be drafting some pretty high power sets here, lots of fixing. Whatever the sets do end up being, you can imagine that they're the ones that were popular during Edge of Eternities League, so they must be pretty good.
Right. And so, as I understand it, we're doing this. These drafts are being played out not necessarily as drafts, but they're being played out round robin. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So players will be doing this mega draft with their pod, but rather than play, your 3 rounds splits like you usually would after a draft, players are actually just going to be playing all 7 other players in their pod. And we chose this as kind of a way to safeguard against variance or bad draws, something like that. You really don't want to draft a sweet deck and then go 1-2 because you didn't draw lands. And so having this pod be round robin, it's sort of our safeguard to ensure that the best 4 players, the players that drafted the best 4 decks, are getting out of this pod. And not, I got mana screwed in 2 of my matches, and I really should have won the whole Player of the Year, and it's not fair.
Right.
So. So players will be playing everyone in their pod.
Yeah, and they've got a week to play out those matches, as I understand it, before the semis begin. And we should note that these decks, like all other decks in this tournament and most others that we offer, are the league standard 60-card decks, which you normally produce in a league sealed or in the mega draft itself, which is double the packs and 60 card decks rather than 40. All right, so then let's say the bottom 16 will get cut, and then they'll be reseeded into 2 pods for the semifinals. Can you tell us a little bit about what the semifinals format will look like?
Yeah. So this is my favorite one. Maybe partially because I designed it, but
that's fine. You can take pride in your work. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a fun one. So, well, I've heard some other opinions, but people are allowed to be incorrect. So the way this one's going to work is players are going to be playing sealed. So this is our 1 sealed round in the tournament. Every player's pool is going to consist of 9 packs. And this one's unique in that players have freedom over what packs they choose. So we have a full list of sets that I'll go through in a minute. But there's no restrictions on what set you can choose. So if you want to, you can pick 9 Outlaws of Thunder Junction packs. Totally within the rules. There's a catch to it, though, in that each pack comes with a dread cost. For those that weren't here during Duskmourn, I think I mentioned it earlier about the Duskmourn Mega Draft, but dread increases or decreases your deck size. So every pack you choose will have an associated dread level with it. And by the time you're done picking your 9 packs, you're going to have an overall dread level, and that's going to affect your minimum deck size that you're allowed to play. So it starts at 60. If you end up with plus 15 dread, you're going to have to run a 75 card deck.
Right.
The other thing about the dread costs that we kind of built in as a safeguard to people just taking the same set 9 times is every time you pick a set, the dread cost for that set then increases by 1. So as an example, I use Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which has a base dread cost of +6. If I take my first Outlaws of Thunder Junction pack, I'm going to get +6 added to my dread. The next one's going to be +7, and then the following will be +8, and so on. So if I take 9 Outlaws of Thunder Junction packs, my deck size is probably going to be somewhere above 100, which is maybe not the best strategy, but you know.
But it is a good safeguard because we do want to, keep that sort of, if not completely chaotic feel. Then we don't want people to sort of like play set wars against each other, where one person's backing one set against another set, and it's just monotonous, right? Like you're just replicating the play experience from that set. We do want our events to feel like unique turn offerings you can't do anywhere else, and so I think inserting the dread mechanic into the semis does that. Is there any story about how you ended up with the dread numbers you did for the packs that you selected? Is there a story there?
Yeah. So I guess why don't I run through all the numbers first, and then we'll chat about how we kind of came to those numbers. So the packs we chose are kind of packs that we thought were representative of this play season. So they were represented in one or more tournaments this year. So I'll go through kind of the set and then their associated dread cost. And keep in mind, this is the base dread cost, and they'll increase by 1 if you choose a pack of that set. So we have Final Fantasy is +6. Outlaws of Thunder Junction is +6. Dragonstorm is +4. March of Machines is +4. Edge of Eternities is +3. Aether Drift is +2. Duskmourn is +2. Pioneer Masters is +2. Foundations is 0. Dominaria United is 0. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is -1. War of the Spark is -2. Strixhaven is -3. Theros Beyond Death is -4. And Kaladesh Remastered is also -4. And we kind of landed on those numbers. There's kind of a few of us discussing this out, but we really wanted to put those higher dread costs on what people perceive as the more powerful packs of Final Fantasy, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, March Machines, those packs that definitely have been outliers in power level, and also come with pretty strong bonus sheets. So putting higher dread costs on those means people are pretty limited in how many of them they can take, which we felt was good for the overall power level of the event, and it will kind of force people to explore some of the lower power options we have lower in the table.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not selecting these numbers at random, right? Like we've run enough tournaments that we have pretty good data, at least, if not in terms of like objectively true power levels, then at least how those power levels are perceived by our player base. We had the market mechanic in Outlaws of Thunder Junction where the packs were decided by the market, how much they were worth. We also had, for example, Edge of Eternities, where you could mine packs of certain sets until the planets collapsed from overmining. In March of Machines, we let people pick from certain planes until, and then eliminated the most popular. So we kind of know what people see as the most powerful sets and are able, I think, to move forward with relative confidence that this is, if not completely 100% accurate from all points of view, at least a good enough heuristic to judge these numbers on. And I think that we're not going to see, I mean, I'd be very surprised if we see more than 2 or 3 decks out of 16 with the same pack composition. I think that would be very surprising.
Yeah, I think that it's, I've helped design these numbers and I put some thought into it, and I certainly haven't come up with an optimal strategy. Been talking with a couple of other folks, and maybe they're just hiding information from me that they don't want me to know. But it really seems like it's pretty hard to parse the whole list and come up with a strategy that truly is optimal. Like it definitely feels there's a lot of ways you can take this and kind of find those inset synergies too that might help you out with those lower power packs. definitely I'm excited to see what our 16 semifinalists will cook up with their sealed decks.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most homeworky round so far, right? So if you put this in the quarterfinals, you would oblige everybody to put in a lot of work, and then 16 people would be disappointed still at the end. But getting to the semifinals, if you haven't studied this problem already, I would say that when you qualify for the semis, you pretty much want to study those numbers, figure out your optimal pack composition, and then cross your fingers that you open what you think you're going to open. And also, hey, this is a little advice from somebody who's not qualified for the tournament. Don't sleep on War of the Spark. It makes your deck smaller, and it's one of the OG broken sets. Okay? That's a little advice from the Orkster to you. Can I call myself that, Jack? Am I allowed?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right, that's where the smart money is. Stock up on those War of the Spark packs. All right, let's take us to the finals. Let's take us to the finals. So we got after the semis are over, bottom 8 drop out, and the peak performers they go on to the Mega Draft final. What's the shape of that Mega Draft? The ultimate.
Yeah. So we've definitely kind of let our say creative liberties maybe seep into the quarterfinals and semifinals a bit. Like they're pretty novel formats. They're interesting. They're fun. The finals, no more of that. We're down to business now. We got our top 8 players. So what's going on here? Standard Mega Draft. Kind of the one thing that's maybe a little unusual about this one. The sets that people are drafting are known. We're going to be drafting Duskmourn, Foundations, Aether Drift, Dragonstorm, Final Fantasy, and Ezra Eternity. So all standard sets that have released this year. The one thing players won't know is the order. So those are going to be in a random order, which will be decided before the Mega Draft. So that'll kind of switch up how players approach the draft without knowing that order beforehand. Aside from that, it's just our standard Mega Draft. We're doing 60 card decks, Swiss pairings, 3-round single elimination, and whoever comes out on top of that is going to be crowned our 2025 Player of the Year.
Right. So unlike the semifinals and the quarterfinals, this is a mercifully brief 3-round standard Swiss draft to decide our Player of the Year and to see who takes home all the marbles. Jack, I'm excited about this event, more so now than ever before. Do you have anything else that you want to add about the event, about the lead up to it, about really anything?
I think we've covered pretty much everything. I'll leave the other contenders with a warning to stay out of my way.
Oh,
I'm not here to mess around. I'm planning to take it down, so watch your backs. But
you're aiming for the Laurel Leaves this year, so you're not just a happy, friendly LC member here to nurture new talent. You want this one. You got the hunger.
Yeah, it's my time to shine. Well, especially after last Player of the Year when I qualified on the last roll down and then went 0-5 in the first round. I'm not messing around anymore.
That's tough. That's a tough first experience. The bull threw you, but this time you're going to ride it all the way to the end. Well, I'll be watching your progress and the progress of our other 31 contestants very closely, and this is shaping up to be our best Player of the Year tournament yet, and can't wait to see the action. When do we get started? That's the final question.
Yeah. So
because it's later in the season than usual, right?
Yeah. So we postponed it actually a little bit just to kind of give us some time to wrap up our last few invites. That needed to happen after Ezra Fraternities League. But we're going to be kicking off the drafts for the quarterfinals starting Friday, October 31st. So you can look forward to those drafts coming soon to a voice channel near you on Halloween.
Woo! Spooky. We'll have a spooky time. I was teasing my daughter about Halloween, and I said, if you want to, you can have a few of your friends over, have a little Halloween party, have a spooky time. And she told me, Dad, you're so lame. And so now spooky time, that's a phrase I'm going to start using whenever I want to troll my daughter.
Man, are kids not into the spooky times these days?
I don't know. It's spooky. I hope that you have a spooky time in your quarterfinals experience. Jack, thank you for your work in getting this event together. Thanks for spending your time today to help our players come to grips with what to expect in the Player of the Year, or what we call POTI 2025. Yeah, and happy Canadian Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to definitely all of our Canadian listeners too. And thanks for having me on, Chris.
Thanks, Jack. Bye for now.
Bye.